Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to do part 2 of the transcript of the episode Min صحابك from the Haya Ailatna, cartoon. So let's jump right into it. I tried to fix the audio a little bit. I think it was a little bit loud in the last one. But yeah, so we read last time all the way, we read half of it, and I believe we should be here. Okay, so you can just watch, the episode again just to get a sense of where we are now. As usual, I'm going to just read the whole thing through once, and then I'll go back and talk about everything line by line. Okay, so Sally says, ماما بابا بصير حدا يوصلني عند لبنى بسرعة؟ مين لبنى؟ صاحبتي الجديدة. لبنى؟ لبنى؟ خلص أنا بوصل لك. سالي, now they're in the car. سالي, أنتي أول مرة بتروحي عند لبنى وإحنا لا منعرفها ولا منعرف أهلها، بس أنا بثق فيكي. ماما شو بده يصير يعني؟ لا ولا إشي، بس للاحتياط. شو رأيك نعمل رسالة سرية بيني وبينك؟ إذا في أي إشي ما ارتحتي له ابعتلي 3 قلوب خضر، هيك بفهم عليكي إنه قصدك احكي معي هلا وليلي لازم تروحيني. لازم تروحيني. حاسة حالي قاعدة مع المحقق كونان. ها. Okay, next scene. أيوة برافو فراس. اسمع استنوني شوي، بدي أروح على الحمام وهلا برجع. And now he's talking to himself, Firas, like on the headset. وين سند البيب؟ يلا شو صار له هالبيب؟ Just he's swearing. مش عارف يلعب، شوف هالبيب. And then the father comes in and he's hearing this, right? And then Sanad comes back and he says, بابا ايش عم بتعمل؟ بابا مين هذا؟ وشو هالالفاظ السيئة اللي بحكيها؟ هاد ولد جديد بصفي أو بالصف، هو بضل يسبسب، بس كثير شاطر بالجيمز، يعني قلت له 1000 مرة ما يضل يسبسب وما يغلط بالحكي، بس بابا ما تسمح لحدا مين ما كان يغلط عليك حتى لو بالمزح، وما بحب تصاحب أولاد بيستخدموا ألفاظ سيئة، لأنه الناس اللي بتقضي معهم معظم وقتك هم اللي بيأثروا عليك. And then now Sally is at her friend's house. She says, لبنى من أول ما جيت وأنت بتحطي ميك اب، في حدا جاي غيري؟ حبيبتي احنا راح نطلع، ما راح نضل بالبيت، وراح أعرفك على شلة أكبر منا مش من مدرستنا. بس انتي ما قلتي لي هيك وانا ما خبرت اهلي. ها عن جد انتي لسه بتخبري اهلك؟ خلص ما هم بفكروكي عندي، شو راح يفرق يعني؟ يلا راح اروح اجيب شنطتي بسرعة. ها قال ما خبرت اهلي. قال مش عارفة امتى اخر مرة سمعت هالجملة. And then the mother's in the car, she's driving home. مش معقول، شو هاد، ساكنة بآخر الدنيا. And then she gets the call, or she gets the 3 hearts, right? ألو ماما سالي، أنا لازم أجي أخذك هلا، حضري حالك. And then Sally's in the car now. ماما شو صار؟ كانت بدها يانا نروح معها على محل ما بعرفه، مع ناس ما بعرفهم، بدون ما احكي لكم، وانا بصراحة بالمرة ما ارتحت. برافو حبيبتي انك اخدتي القرار الصح، انا فخورة فيكي كثير. شو رايك هلا بتحكي مع رنا واواصلك عندها؟ اظن هيك راح اعمل. And then this is like the debrief at the end. فكرة الماما انه يكون بيناتنا رسالة سرية لما أكون مش مرتاحة، فكرة عبقرية. وأنا بشجعكم تخترعوا رمز سري أنتوا وأولادكم. Sorry, I know it's a bit cut off because of my camera, I think, but it's because I can't scroll down without it changing the page. But you can go on my site and you can just visually follow along with the transcript that I have there if you download it or something. يبعتوا لكم إياه لما يحسوا حالهم بمواقف مش مريحة. وإذا بدكم أفكار أكثر على الموضوع اضغطوا هون وما تنسوا تشاركوا الفيديو مع أصحابكم. Okay, so that was the whole transcript, or yeah, I mean that's the end of the video. So let's go back and do it line by line. Basically what I've done this time, again, I'm trying not to make it too long and complicated and sort of chaotic, so I've just kind of jotted down some main terms that I want to focus on, and then the rest I'll kind of sort of breeze through. So let's get started. Okay. Mama, Baba, بصير حدا يوصلني عند لبنى بسرعة. Okay, so Mama, Baba is like mom, dad. But as you'll see later, so Mama can be used for mom or for your daughter. And then Baba can be used for a dad, but also your son. So they speak to each other that way a lot. Just wanted to make that clear. And then صار here, normally صار means to become, to happen. It can also mean to begin doing something. But in this case, sometimes it's used to say like ممكن, basically, like could, or like, yeah, in this case, بصير حدا, okay, so could someone take me, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes, like, ما بصير is like that won't do, or like that won't work, or like that won't happen. So it can have this connotation too. And I like this verb, and I kind of jotted it down because I think it's pretty useful. So wasal means to arrive, but wassal, so in form 2, it means to, I guess you could think of it as to make someone arrive, but it's like to take someone, or like, yeah, to take something somewhere else, usually a person. Actually, I think the literal definition is to connect, but anyway, the point is just to take someone somewhere else. And again, we see what I mentioned in the first part, عند لبنى, like here this means Lubna's place, obviously not like in the sense of عندي, like I have, but rather someone's location, so at Lubna's. بسرعة meaning quick or quickly. Then okay, مين لبنى, who's Lubna? صاحبتي الجديدة, my new friend. And then the mom says, okay, لبنى, okay. خلاص, like, again, very, very useful expression. You gotta really learn this one, because خلاص means it's over, or it ended, but it's just used to say like, okay, like, all right, like, you know, yeah, just kind of settling things. خلاص أنا بوصل لك. So I'll take you. Okay, Sally, أنتي okay, أنتي أول مرة بتروحي عند لبنى. Okay, so there's another word that I jotted down here, which is the word marra. You might already know this one, but it means time, but not time in the sense of like time in general, but rather it's like a counter for time in a way. So like, so in this case, it's actually awwal marra means the first time. Do you see what I mean? It's not like the concept of time. It's like the first time, or you know, shuftu marra, like I saw him once, right? Because marra would be one time. And the reason I think this is useful is because you see it in the expression, for example, bil marra, which means, it seems kind of weird, but it means like never, or at all, or by no means, for some reason. So it's kind of like never. And then marrat, which is the plural of one marra, it means like times, right? And it's a way of saying sometimes. So please don't say ahyanan in Ammiya, which is from Fusha, but rather it's marrat is the way of saying sometimes. It literally, because that's literally what it means. Like one time is marra, and then marrat is times, sometimes. So that's a useful word. Okay, so this is the first time that you're going to Lubna's place. And we don't know her, and we don't know her parents, right? Or her family. بس أنا بثق فيكي. Okay, two very quick things. So the verb وثق is to trust. Normally, I feel like normally it should be pronounced like, or it could be pronounced as بوثق. I think just it happens that with this verb, the waw can also disappear, so an alternative pronunciation is بوثق. I'm going to, the reason it kind of does this is because it's a verb type that we haven't really spoken about. Verbs that have as the first letter of the root that have waw or ya, it kind of does a particular thing where it like the verb wasal or whistle, in the present it's bosal, so it's the long O. There's special things going on with these. They're not that common, which is why I haven't spoken about them yet, but I will, but just don't worry about it yet. So أنا بثق فيكي, I trust you. The other quick thing that I wanted to say is that you may know that in Ammiya, so the suffix for enta or enti, whereas in Fusha it's ka and ki, so betuka or betuki or baituka or baituki. In Ammiya it's like ek and ak. So ak is for enta, and ek is for enti. So biddak is you want, biddek is you want feminine. But there's another way to do it, and the other way to do it is just, especially in the case of like something like fi, where there's already a yeah, so there would be no real way to distinguish between like ek and ak because it's just a yeah anyway. So in situations like these especially, the feminine is marked by a yeah at the end, which parallels how in verbs you have like عملت أنت عملت أنت عملتي. So it kind of, that's why it's فيكي. Okay. Mama شو بده يصير يعني? Mama, you know, what is going to happen? Okay, so I just want to note that biddu here, which I mentioned in my video about desire in the future, where I talked about bid. So biddu means like something will happen, but it also means, okay, so ana biddi means I will do something or I want to do something. So in this case it's the future sense. So what, so it literally means what will happen. Yeah, that's literally what it is. But of course the translation, I mean, it sounds weird in English to say what will happen. It's more like what could possibly, you know what's going to happen, like what could possibly go wrong, I guess. And then the mother says la, nothing, or no, wala ishi, nothing. But للإحتياط للإحتياط. للإحتياط just means just in case. So it's a pretty useful expression, للإحتياط, just in case. شو رأيك? Again, this literally means what is your opinion, but it means like what do you think? How about نعمل, that we do, like what do you think we make رسالة سرية, secret message, بيني وبينك. I've mentioned this before, بين means between, but if you want to say between us, usually I think the most common way of saying is actually بيني, so between me, وبينك, between you. So you say it kind of twice. So بين means between, but بيني وبينك means between you and me. And actually what they're going to say later is بيناتنا. So you can say between you and me, or you can say بيناتنا, which would be between us, in which case it's like just one, well, yeah, there's not, you don't have بين twice, but instead you have بينات, بيناتنا. So I'm just explaining that because it'll come up later. Okay, إذا في أي إشي, if there is anything, ما ارتحت له. Okay, let's dissect this really quick. So first of all, إذا means if. The other word for if is لو, and we will also see this later. Now, to make conditional sentences in Arabic, or at least in Palestinian Arabic, basically it's not like there's a different tense or anything. Usually you just use the past tense, or you can use the present tense really. I mean, I wrote down a little comparison because like in English you can say if you go to the store, bring me some blah blah blah, or you can say, you know, what would you do if you went to the store and you saw this person. Do you see? So if you went, you can say if you went, or you can say if you go in English. In Arabic, it's basically the exact same way. So to make a conditional sentence, all you do is you just have iza or law. Iza maybe I think is more common. And then whichever tense kind of feels appropriate for that situation. So in this case, it's the past tense. Because I think that if you use the present tense with the if, it means it has a little bit more of a future connotation. It's not so much like a hypothetical. It's more like when you do something. So if you go to the store, it is hypothetical, but it's like it's less hypothetical than saying if you went to the store. If you went to the store is more like, who knows if it's kind of more unreal than if you go to the store. Like you're talking about something that really may happen. So anyway, in this case, they're using the past tense, artahtilu. Now, what is artahtilu? So the verb is artah. Artah means to be comfortable. Artah means he was comfortable. Artahti or artahti is you were comfortable, you feminine. And then lu means you were comfortable like with something, right? You use the lam to indicate the object of something that you were comfortable with. So if is a fi a ishi, if there is something that you were not comfortable with, ibatili, send me. And again, all of these are in the feminine conjugations because it's mother and daughter talking. Talad ulub khudur. Okay, 3 green hearts. By the way, I really think this verb artah is very useful. So I would, because it's going to come up a few more times too. Okay, هيك بفهم, that way, right? هيك, I will understand, right, عليكي, like, oh, by the way, here again we see the key ending. So, especially because you have the yeah here, so you kind of need it to distinguish between the feminine and the masculine. So, هيك بفهم عليكي, this way I will understand you, or, yeah, I'll understand you, that قصدك, blah blah blah. So qasd, qasd means like intention, I guess, or meaning, but like basically what someone means. So qasdak is like what you mean. Qasdi is like what I mean. So it's a very useful expression also, and I've also circled this one in my little notes because I think it's very common to say it like, what I mean is that. Okay, right, so in Arabic you would say like asli lazim da da da. Okay, so like what I mean is we have to do this. So it's a really, really useful, very natural expression. So in this case it means like so fahm عليك means to understand you. So هيك بفهم عليكي, this way I'll understand you, that you mean, right? احكي معي هلا, speak with me now. قوليلي, tell me, لازم تروحيني. So tell me that you, well, okay, should, and then you, okay, let's do it one by one. So روح means to go home, or to, in this case, like, she's saying that you have to take me home, right? Because the ni ending indicates like me as the object. So anti lazim trawahini. So tell me that you have to like take me home, right? Because the point of the video, like what they're saying is like the mother's telling the daughter, look, if you don't feel comfortable, send me these 3 hearts, and I'll know that what you want is for me to tell you, call me and tell you, no, you have to come back home. So that's what's going on here. And then she just jokes, Sally, the girl jokes, hasse hali. So she pronounces it as hasse, but the full word is hassese. So hasses, I mean, it comes from, it's the active participle of the verb has, which means to feel. So she's saying, I feel hali, myself. I feel as though I am, right? I feel myself as if I were قاعدة, from the verb قعد, which means to sit. So literally this would mean I feel myself sitting with Detective Conan. It's a cartoon character. Now I've also translated as actually hanging out, because ka'ad means to sit literally, but it sort of also means to hang out. So I think that's a nice word that I've also circled, because again, in normal conversation you would say like بدك نقعد. It means it literally means do you want for us to sit, but it's like do you want to hang out. So very useful word. Then that's the end of that scene. Okay, now Sanad is playing video games. Aywa, bravo Firas. Like, bravo, nicely done. I was like, yeah, right? Isma, astannuni shway. So, isma, it means listen, but it's just a way of saying like, hey, right? Yeah, isma, it's very common to say that. So the verb here is astanna, which means wait, or to wait. And then astannu is wait, like plural, you plural, wait. Astannuni, wait for me. بدي أروح على الحمام, I want to go to the bathroom. Notice again the ayn attached to, so the ayn, which is for to, I want to go al hammam. That kind of gets combined, and in writing also. So you kind of write it like this. وهلا برجع. So raja means to return. So this is the way of saying I'll be right back. So it literally means now I return, but it's like saying yeah, I'll be right back. Oops. And then this is just like random stuff that he's saying, because the point is that he's swearing. Where is Sanad I don't know what he's saying. I actually have no idea. I mean, what he could be saying, but whatever. Where is Sanad? Yalla, what happened to him? He doesn't know how to play. Look at this. It's not really important. Okay. And the dad is listening to this, right? So now Sanad comes back from the bathroom. He says, Baba, ايش عم تعمل? Remember, am is emphasizing a present action, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. What are you doing? Okay, and then the dad says, Baba. Note, oh yeah, so this is what I mentioned before. So the son says to his dad, Baba, but also the dad says to his son, Baba. So Baba min هذا, who is this? وشو هالألفاظ السيئة اللي بحكيها. So سيئة, or yeah, سيئة is like bad, and then alfaz, it doesn't mean words. So this is like bad words or cuss words, but alfaz is not words. It means technically pronunciations, but whatever. It's just alfaz say'a is or alfaz say'a is bad words. And then here's a word that I've mentioned a lot before, illi. Illi meaning that, or which, or who, or, you know, it's a relative. I mean, in English, it depends on what you're talking. If you're talking about time, if you're talking about a person, it can be who, or that, or which, but in Arabic, it's always illi. And in this case, what the use is, because you're saying, what are these bad words that illi bihkiha, that he is saying them. So that's illi here. And then Sanad says, had wala jadid bisaf. This is a new kid in class. Yeah, okay. Huwa bdal yisabsib. Okay, so sabsib, or just sub. So huwa sab, ana sabbet. That means to curse. But in this case, like sometimes, you see this a little bit sometimes with like onomatopoeia words. Sometimes these words like sub, like it'll be doubled into sibsib or subsib. And another example is like rash, which means to spray. You have the word rash. So it's not like that common, but sometimes you see it in this case. That means to curse. And then again, we see the word bol, which I think is also a useful word that I've written down, because I mentioned it in the last episode, but it means it literally means to stay, but it's also used to mean to keep doing something or to continue doing something. So he keeps swearing, but huwa kathir shatir bil games. He says games. Shatir is another very important word. This often people think it means smart, and it is used like that. So huwa kathir shatir means he's very smart, but literally what it means is skilled. So you can actually use it much more generically than just شاطر. So أنت كتير شاطر بالعربي. You're very skilled in Arabic. Or like your Arabic is really good. So that's شاطر. Very, very useful word. Okay, يعني قلت له 1000 مرة ما يضل يسبسب. So I told him, أنا قلت له, I told him 1,000 times, here we see مرة again, that he not stay or continue swearing. So yeah, if I want to say, you know, don't continue swearing, I would say ما تضل تسبسب, right? But here he's saying I told him that he not keep cursing, which is why it's not just in the subjunctive, but it's in the هو form. So أنا قلت له 1000 مرة ما يضل يسبسب, that he not keep cursing. وما يغلط بالحكي. So, and that means, okay, bas baba, dad, this right here means, and he doesn't, I guess literally it's kind of like he doesn't offend by his speech, but it's kind of like saying, he's just saying like, I'm not offended by, like it doesn't offend me that he's cursing or like what he's saying, because I mean he was saying that Sanad is like beep, you know, so Sanad's saying that he doesn't care, but obviously his dad is not happy with that. But I actually like that this use of like غلط to mean offended is not something that I see every day, but I still think it's a really useful word because it has lots of like there's lots of other words that look similar that are very useful. So for example, غلط itself means not as a verb but as so okay, so there's the verb غلط, which could be to offend, as in this case. I mean, think about it as like to wrong someone, because غلط by itself means wrong. So it's like an adjective meaning wrong. So you know, the answer was غلط, it's wrong. غلطة is a mistake. أغلاط is also mistakes. غلطان is mistaken, so someone who is mistaken. It follows the pattern of like جوعان or عطشان or زهقان. So غلطان is mistaken. By the way, those words are like hungry, thirsty, bored. So here, mistaken, right? And then what else? Yeah, just thinking of other words that have this root and this kind of shape. So yeah, in this case, so it's related to like things that are wrong, and then in this case, it's like as a verb, it's like to offend or insult someone. So yeah, so I'm not offended by his speech or by what he's saying. Okay, and then the dad says, Baba, don't permit, so samah means to allow or permit, so don't let anyone, ما تسمح لحدا, someone or anyone, mean ما كان يغلط عليك. So يغلط عليك, to offend you. I really like this expression, mean ما كان. So remember, this is the ma in the sort of subjunctive sense, or yeah, I guess. I don't really know, again, what the grammatical explanation for this word would be, but the way that I've said it before is there's ma for negation, and then there's ma that follows some kind of functional word when there's going to be a verb afterwards, and you're like and you're sort of modifying the mode of the verb using the functional word. Okay, I know that sounded weird, but in the first episode, in the first part of this transcript, we talked about زي ما. So زي means as, and then زي ما, as توقعت, as I expected. بعد means after, بعد ما تطلع من البيت, after you leave the house. So you have to put ma after ba'ad or zay or all these words to modify a verb. So ba'ad al-ahad after Sunday, or ba'ad ma titla min al-bayt. You have to have the ma if you have a verb. Now, in this case, this is a third like use of ma, but it's related to what I just explained. adding ma after one of the question words also works to sort of, I mean, it's used to say like whoever or whenever or whatever or whenever, like all of those things. So sort of expands the question word to like everything, right? So in this case, what it's saying is min ma would be whoever, and then min ma kan is whoever it may be, right? So that's how this is formed. Yeah, I think that's a good enough explanation for now. But actually, my video about the question words, I think it's that one. I explain that you can have, you know, min ma, shu ma, emta ma. So, for example, shu ma biddak means whatever you want. Shu biddak means what do you want. So, shu biddak, what do you want? Shu ma biddak, whatever you want. Min kan عندك, who was at your place, or min ma kan, whomever it was, or whoever it may be. Okay, so that's kind of important. So anyway, next, حتى لو بالمزح. Here we see again, لو, I mentioned that before. You have إذا and لو, both meaning if. This is a common expression. حتى لو, those often go together, and it means even if. So I think إذا is the most common one, is the most common word for if in general, but this, like together, حتى لو is a pretty common expression meaning even if. So even if, بالمزح means like as a joke or in a joke, but I guess you could translate it as jokingly. وما بحب, and I don't, so hab means to like or to love, but also to want for something to happen. So, and I don't like for you to, or I don't want you to, تصاحب, to befriend. أولاد بيستخدموا ألفاظ سيئة. So, kids who use cuss words, or, you know, yeah, cuss words. Now, I just want to make a quick note here. I was mentioning in the last video, I don't know if it was 100% clear, but I was talking about how the word illi is used for, so up here where did we see it? Yeah, alfaz as-say'a illi bihkiha. So bad words that he is saying. Now illi is used in that sense for, you know, that or who, or, you know, that kind of thing, but only for definite things. So here hal alfaz as-say'a is definite, because you have the al, you know, you have the articles that really, you know, makes it very clear that it's definite. But if it's indefinite, you just don't use anything. Now in English, often you can omit, like, often you can omit the word like that, for example. So the place that I went to, you can also just say the place I went to. In Arabic, it's more rigid. In Arabic, if it's definite, you use illi always, and if it's not definite, then you never use anything. So in English, in this case down here, you actually cannot omit the word who. So I don't want you to befriend kids use cuss words. That doesn't make sense, right? So in the case of the place that I went to, or the place I went to, you can omit this one. But in this case, you can't. You have to say kids who use cuss words. But in Arabic, again, أولاد, this is indefinite. So if it were, so you don't use any word at all. You just say أولاد بيستخدموا ألفاظ. So in English, this would sound like kids use cuss words, but it's not that way, because in Arabic it's either illi for definite or nothing for indefinite, period. So if أولاد were definite, then it would be الأولاد اللي بيستخدموا ألفاظ سيئة. So the kids who use cuss words. But since it's indefinite, أولاد بيستخدموا, right? So there's just nothing. So I think this is a pretty good example, because here you can see that like in English you have to have this word, but in Arabic it's always yes for definite, illi, nothing for indefinite. Okay, I've said it a million times, so that should click by now. All right, لأنه, because, here we have اللي. لأنه الناس اللي, so because the people who, well, actually in English the word order is a little bit different, but so you always have اللي right after the noun that you're about to describe. So you have الناس اللي and then whatever the whole description is. So لأنه الناس اللي, because the people who, تقضي, it means to spend, but to spend time. So it has to go with the word time. So the word time in this case it's put at the end, but that's fine. So so the people with whom you spend, actually the most or the people, well, again, because the word order is different in English, so let's follow along with the English word order first. Okay, so because the people who you spend most of your time with, so that's how the order was in Arabic or in English, but in Arabic, I mean the order is a little bit flexible, but the part that is rigid is لأنه الناس اللي. It always has to be الناس اللي, like اللي always has to come after the noun, and then you can say whatever you want to say as the description. So بتقضي معهم معظم وقتك, معظم وقتك, most of your time. And then, yeah, I think معهم, like, it would have been much more clear if معهم was at the end, because then it would be the people with whom you spend most of your time with. I think but I mean, it's fine to say it this way too. It's just that it becomes less parallel with the English, but that's fine. Yeah, the sentence is actually kind of straightforward. It's just the word order is kind of different, but that's fine. Okay, so هم اللي بيأثروا عليك. Again, we see اللي, and what he's saying is they are the ones who, well, there is no are, right, because it's in the present tense, so it would be can in the past, but in this case there's no present tense to be verb, that's why that's missing. So هم, they are, parentheses, the ones who affect you. أثر means to affect, so بيأثروا, they affect عليك, you. So notice how اللي is being used and how up here it was not used because it was indefinite. الأولاد, or أولاد بيستخدموا blah blah blah. Okay, let me see where I am in terms of yeah. Okay, so now Sally says لبنى, yeah, okay, لبنى من أول ما إجيت وأنتي بتحطي makeup. Okay, this is actually a very interesting, there's a lot going on in this sentence, because the first thing is that أول means first, right? But you can also use it to talk about time frames. So you can use this to say as soon as. So أول ما إجيت means as soon as I arrived. And notice the word ما here again, because you're modifying the verb إجيت, I arrived, or you're using the verb I arrived to frame a situation. So أول ما إجيت, as soon as I arrived. If you said بعد ما إجيت, it would be after I arrived, or قبل ما إجيت, it would be before I arrived. So whenever you want to sort of modify the verb, or like, yeah, I don't know how else to describe it than modify, but if you want to do that, you have to have the ma, because you have a verb after the awwal or the ba'd or the abl, so you have to have the ma. Whereas, like, if you just wanted to say awwal ishi, it means the first thing. But here it's awwal ma ajid, as soon as I arrived. The only thing is that the translation into English changes a little bit if you add the min, because here she's saying from as soon as I arrived, so the meaning is like from the moment I arrived, right? That's how you would translate it best into English. So min, from as soon as I arrived, or the first moment that I arrived. وأنتي بتحطي makeup. Okay, the other thing going on in the sentence is this وأنتي. I don't know if you remember, if you saw my video on the verb can and the verb صار, I mentioned this use of wow, which is like it doesn't really mean and in this case. Now my explanation for that is that there's something that's called the perfect continuous. What does that mean? That is like when in English you say, I have been doing, right? So in this sentence in English, it's from the moment I arrived, you have been putting on makeup. So it's like an action that began in the past and was ongoing, and it's still going on now. So I have been living in London, or you have been putting on makeup, right? In Arabic, there is no tense for this. There's no direct way to say it. So the way that you say it is actually by having like the letter waw, u, and then the subject, so in this case, enti, and then whatever they were doing. U enti بتحطي makeup. But the thing is that by itself does not mean the perfect continuous. That does not by itself, like u enti بتحطي makeup does not mean you have been putting up makeup by itself. The way that it acquires that meaning is by specifying a time frame before, and that's what really gives you the sense that whole time you have been doing this. So there's not a direct translation for the perfect continuous in Arabic. The way to do it is by having by specifying a time frame before and then using this expression u anta, u ana, blah blah blah, and then the action. So I mentioned it in that video about the verb صار because usually, like, the most common way of saying, you know, I have been doing this is by using the verb صار and then specifying the time frame. So صار لي سنة وأنا ساكن بلندن. So which is not true. I said I've been living in London for a year. That's not true. But so صار لي is like it has become on me a year, and I have been living in London. That's a direct translation, but it means I have been living in London for a year. So in this case, the time frame is not specified with صار. And again, you always have to specify a time frame. But in this case, it's not specified with صار. The time frame is from the moment I arrived. That's the beginning of the time frame. So from the moment I arrived, since then, وانتي بتحطي makeup. Like the whole time you've been putting on makeup. So that's why I'm saying that this is a very meaty sentence. There's a lot going on in it. First, the أول ما, as soon as, and then that sets up the time frame that sort of tells you how long this action has been going on, and then gives you that present or perfect continuous meaning. All right, next. في حدا جاي غيري. Okay, في is there, someone. جاي, present continue or active participle of جاي or إجا, to come. So جاي, coming. غير means other or different. So غيري means other than me. غيرك, other than you. So is there someone coming other than me? حبيبتي احنا راح نطلع means my dear, we're going out. We're not going to stay. ما راح نضل بالبيت. Here ضل is being used actually to mean to stay, like not to keep doing something, like literally to stay. So you can see the other use here. وراح أعرفك, and I'm going to introduce you, أعرفك, I'm going to introduce you to شلة أكبر منا. So شلة is like a clique, a crew, group. Bigger, okay, so akbar means bigger, kabir means bigger, or kabir means big, but it can also mean older. So especially in Ammiya. So older, min, from, but then here it's minna, so from, older than us. In Palestinian and probably other dialects too, min, it means from, but it's also used for comparison to say than. So bigger than, akbar minna. Okay, مش من مدرستنا, not from our school. بس أنت ما قلتي لي هيك, but you didn't tell me that. Or هيك means, it doesn't really mean that, it means that way, or like, but it can be used this way. So, but you didn't tell me that, that was the case. وأنا, and I did not inform my parents. Or just let them know. Inform, I mean, that is the literal translation, but the connotation is I haven't let my parents know. Ha ha ha, عن جد means really. أنتي, you still, لسه means still. So أنتي لسه, you still بتخبري أهلك, so you still inform, or you still let your parents know, like, about what you do. خلاص, خلاص ما oh yeah this ma is a weird ma, particularly it follows the things that I've been saying until now, but it's just a bit more abstract. So let's take a look at the remainder of the sentence and we'll come back to it. So خلاص, okay. هم, they, بفكروكي. So بفكروا is they think. بفكروكي, they think you, like as in they think that you. So بفكروكي عندي, they think that you are at my place. شو راح يفرق يعني. This يعني is just like, so, you know, like, so what difference does it make? Or, you know, yeah, so that's what this means. شو راح يفرق means what difference will it make. فرق means to differentiate or to distinguish. So this is how you say in Arabic, what difference does it make? شو راح يفرق or شو بيفرق. شو بيفرق يعني. Now, okay, so this part of the sentence means they think you're at my place. What difference does it make? And then the map doesn't really add that much meaning. It's just saying like, but in English, like if I really tried to translate this literally, it would make it sound way too weird and formal in English. Like, insofar as they think, or so long as they think, or since they think. But I mean, I think that it's just kind of thrown out. Like, it doesn't like really add that much meaning. She's just saying like, you know, so your parents think you're at my place. You know, since that's the case, what difference does it make? I just don't overthink this man. So, but it's not for negation. That's what's important here. Okay, yalla راح أروح. Okay, so yalla, let's go. Or all right, I'm going to go أجيب to bring شنطتي. Shanta is a backpack. شنطتي, my backpack. بسرعة, really like quick. Ha 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 ha. Okay. ما خبرت أهلي. That's what Sally said. I didn't let my parents know. And then this al here, like she's just kind of quoting her. So that's why it's not, like it should be in the feminine if she was really saying, like Sally said, alit, right? But she's just saying al ma khabarat ahli al. Like that's why I put in the translation. It's just like, I didn't let my parents know. She said, right? So it's in the hua form, but don't overthink it. It's just a way of like quoting like something that someone said. Yeah. Okay. مش عارف. So I don't know امتى, when, and then the to be verb here is missing, of course. So I don't know when is or was آخر مرة, the last time سمعت هالجملة. So I don't know when was the last time I heard this sentence. Okay, and then now the mother is in the car. Oops. Okay, so مش معقول, unbelievable. Talked about this word earlier, or in the other first part. Unbelievable. What is this? This is just an expression. Second, it'd be آخر الدنيا, like it literally means do I live at the end of the world, but it's just like I live so far away. Actually, I wasn't sure if she was talking about herself living so far away or Lubna living so far away, but I assume herself because I think she's driving home right now. But yeah, anyway, that's what this expression means. And then now Sally sends her the hearts, and then she calls Sally. She says, "Hello, Mama Sally. So أنا لازم أجي أخذك هلا. So I must come get you. أخذك هلا now. حضر means to get ready or to prepare. So حضري, you prepare حالك, yourself. So prepare yourself, get ready. And then Sally, then she goes pick up Sally. So Mama شو صار, she says, what happened? And then Sally says كانت بدها, talking about Lubna. So بدها means she wants. كانت بدها, she wanted. إيانا. Okay. So so this is I made a whole video about this, which is the object pronoun. So usually you use an object, or usually use a suffix to indicate the object of an action. So for example, قلت لك, right? The K is for you, right? But sometimes you can't do that because there's like almost like some interference. So that's the most common like time that you see this is with the verb bid, as in this case. So أنا بدي, like there's already the yeah for me, like I want. So to say I want it, I would use this special pronoun word, object pronoun word, and then have the correct suffix to indicate the actual object. So أنا بدي, because I want, so أنا بدي إياه. Here the ending is a ha, but the ha is not really pronounced, you know, so it's أنا بدي إياه. So in this case, she's saying هي كانت بدها إيانا. So she wanted for us, and we are the object, right? We are the object of the sentence, us, we, na. But in order to indicate that, you can't, because if you say bidna, that means we want. So you have to say bidha iyana. So she wanted for us, nruh, that we go, maha, with her, to mahal, a place, mahal ma ba'arfu. Again, here we see a noun followed by a description, and then there's no illi, there's no nothing. So in English you could say a place that I don't know, or a place I don't know. But in Arabic it can only, it must go one thing after the other with nothing in between. So mahal ma ba'arfu, to a place I don't know. مع ناس ما بعرفهم, so with people that I don't know. بدون ما أحكي لكم. Again, here we see it's not ما أحكي لكم means I don't tell you, because that would be negation. But here it's بدون ما. So بدون means without. So بدون سكر is without sugar. But if I want to say without telling you, it would be بدون ما أحكي لكم. So I hope that's really clicking now. This whole thing that it has to be بدون ما, بعد ما, زي ما, you know, زي ما بدك, بدون ما أحكي لكم, قبل ما تروح. It's always, that's what this ma is doing, not negating. Okay, وأنا بصراحة, and me honestly, بالمرة, again here we see this expression بالمرة meaning like at all or never. So أنا بصراحة, I honestly, let's put بالمرة at the end in English. So, and I honestly ما ارتحت, this is the verb ارتاح, to be comfortable. So ما ارتحت, I was not comfortable بالمرة, at all. So honestly I was not comfortable at all. And then the mom says برافو حبيبتي إنك أخذتي القرار الصح. So bravo, you know, bravo, my dear, that you took, or made, I guess in English you would say, that you took the qarar, the decision, so that you took the right decision. أنا فخورة فيكي كتير. Here again we see fiki for feminine. And then fakhur is to be proud, but it's an adjective, right? So if it's feminine, it's fakhura. And the way that you say to be proud of something, in English we say of, but in Arabic the word fi is used. So أنا فخور فيك is I am proud of you. فخورة فيكي, I am proud of you, but فخورة feminine and then فيكي feminine. So fi is used with fakhur. So I'm very proud of you. شو رأيك هلا تحكي مع رنا? So what do you, again, what is your opinion, or what do you think? Now you speak with Rana. وأوصلك عندها, and I will arrive you, well, I'll take you, yeah, this is how you would translate this, and I will take you to her place. Again, عندها is not she has, it's her place, right? So make a note of that again. And then azon meaning just azon by itself is like I guess. So here she's saying azon هيك راح أعمل, I guess that's what I'll do, or I think that's what I'll do. هيك is like that. أظن هيك راح أعمل, I think that's what I'll do. Okay, and then last part, debrief. So Sally, and they're like speaking to the camera, like, you know, like to the audience. So فكرة الماما, mom's idea, إنه يكون, that there be بيناتنا. Here's where بينات, remember I mentioned that earlier because here it comes in again. بيني وبينك means between you and me. بيناتنا is between us. So mom's idea is that there would be between us رسالة سرية, secret message. When I become not comfortable, مرتاحة, فكرة عبقرية. So when I become, or when I am not comfortable, it's a genius idea. This lemma, again, or did I say this before? It means, it's also a relative word like illi, except it's specifically for time. So when you want to set up Like, like when you say, when I went to the store, blah, blah, blah. So it's not the question word when. When did you go to the store? Rather, it's saying, I saw him when I went to the store. شفته لما رحت على الدكان. لما رحت على الدكان. So, لما أكون, when I become, or when I am, not comfortable. I say this, when I first learned this word, lamma, I mean, a million years ago, but it was, cause, sometimes in like funny memes and things like that, you say like, oh, your face when you say this. So people would post that a lot on like their Instagram or whatever. And so that's the word that's used. Lamma, when this happens, nice word. And then mirtah is the active participle of the verb artah. So artah is to be comfortable, or he was comfortable, and mirtah is I'm comfortable. In this case, mirtah because she's a girl. Oops. And then the mother says, and I bashajja, I encourage you, I encourage you, تخترعوا, to invent. I encourage you that you invent. That's the subjunctive. رمز سري, okay, so secret code. أنتوا وأولادكم, so I encourage you and your kids. I guess أنتوا وأولادكم is in the end, but I encourage you and your kids to invent a secret code. يبعتوا لكم, so that they send. Actually, here we see a yeah again, a yeah. So here it's an even better example of it because it's without it's not in the case of bid. Which is the most common time that you see it, but here we see some interference from the ibatulkum. So ba'at means to send. So ibatu is that they send, ilkum, that they send to you. But now, what do they send to you? So that they send to you it. That's what's happened in Arabic. So ibatulkum, that they send to you. Yeah, it. So in English it's that they send it to you, but in Arabic it's that they send to you it. That's basically what's happening, and the yeah is for it. So that's why I call it an object pronoun, because since there was some interference in the verb itself, you have to have it by itself, and you just attach the suffix to this yeah sort of little template thing. And then lamma, again, when. يحسوا, when they feel, حالهم, themselves. So a secret code that they may send to you, or for them to send to you, when they feel themselves بمواقف, in situations. Actually, I mistranslated this as one situation, but it's مواقف is plural. So in situations that are not comfortable. Now again, that's why I like the verb artah, because this root, or like, yeah, this root, I guess you would say, it has a number of useful words like mureh. So mureh is comfortable, but not of a person who is comfortable, but rather something that is comfortable. So ana mirtah, I'm comfortable, but I'm not comfortable for you to sit on. I'm comfortable, like, I'm in myself, right? Mureh is like a chair is comfortable, or the bed is comfortable, or the situation is comfortable, right? So for you, right? So that they may send to you when they're in situations when they feel that they're in situations that are not comfortable. And iza, again, iza, if بدكم, if you want ideas, أفكار أكثر عن الموضوع. So if you want more ideas about this topic, اضغطوا هون, press here. ضغط, press. وما تنسوا, and don't forget, تشاركوا, don't forget to share الفيديو مع أصحابكم. Don't forget to share the video with your friends. And that was it. So that was the whole thing. That was the whole video. That was the second part. I don't know what else to say. I'm actually quite happy because it's a little bit shorter than, well, I don't know, it's kind of the same length as the first part, but I did my best. Next we're going to have some videos that I've prepared that are going to be sort of more didactic than these. Although, again, tell me if you find this really helpful, because this is actually easier for me than even making some of the other videos that I have to really write scripts for and all this. I'm kind of doing this a little bit off the cuff. So, let me know. Have a good day. Download it on the Patreon. There's also my spreadsheet and all that stuff. So yeah, it's all there for you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.